Welcome to Which Side Do You Want, where we talk all things tennis. I'm your co-host, Ruffin Thornton, and I'll be joined by my good friend, James Skinner.
Unlike most tennis podcasts, we cover hot topics, from the lawns to the concrete, from the pros to the park, and all things in between. Welcome to Which Side Do You Want?
All right, welcome back, tennis fans, as we prepare for those long-awaited Christmas holidays. I hope you, our fans, are staying safe and warm as you get those last-minute shopping gifts out of the way. James, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing fine, Ruffin. Doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. So,
that's right.
You got any last-minute shopping gifts?
No, I've done all of my Santa that I'm going to do for right now, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, hey, we all got them.
Yeah, that's right.
We all got them.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for the holidays?
We are ready as we can be.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Cool. So I understand from the last time we talked, you had some Christmas gifts, not gifts, but decorations.
Yes, decorating the house.
Right.
And that in itself is an interesting series of events.
Right.
But, we got it done.
Any Christmas vacation kind of incidents?
Yeah, there was one, but I'm not even going to go there. But an incident with the ladder.
Right.
Lucky I'm not in traction.
Right. That's good. As long as you're not, long as you're not executed or anything like that.
That bush protection.
Oh, that's good.
Fell on a bush, but I'm all right.
Oh, that's good.
I'm here to talk about it. Nothing that a little leave wouldn't take care of.
There you go. And some ice, right?
And some ice, that's right.
Maybe that cold front that we got coming now will help you out.
That's going to take care of it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad everything worked out.
Everything worked out.
Anything going on for the Christmas holiday itself?
No, we're going to be here. Okay. I know you're on the road though, right?
Yeah, I'm on the road. We're heading south, so we will actually be on the road on Christmas morning.
Okay.
So
just
hopefully
be careful, man.
Well, I appreciate it.
For you and everybody who's traveling on the roads, we're on a once-in-a-generation snowstorm that's hitting the whole nation. So just everybody be careful.
Yeah, we definitely will thank all of those that wish us well, and and anyone else that's traveling during this cold spell. Yeah. So it is a once-in-a-generational event, Yeah. But let's jump into our tennis for the week.
Tennis. That's right.
So again, this week, since we're in the off season, there are no tournaments this week except for those that are playing in the 125 events.
Trying to get those points.
But we were talking before our episode today. You have some things that you'd like to tell the fans.
Well, yeah, I was just this weekend they just completed the Battle of the Brits. Right. Competition, and this is a competition. I don't know, Jamie Murray, Andy Murray's brother.
Okay.
It's taken him like 2 years to put this together, and what it is was a competition between Scotland and England.
Okay.
And it's just a lot of things I didn't know. You notice one thing real quick is that when England plays as England,
right,
their flag is just that one white red cross.
Oh, okay.
It's not a Union Jack. And I was talking to a friend that I knew from New York. He was from England, but he told me that the reason why they do that, when you see the Union Jack, that represents all of the countries of the United Kingdom. All of those are because Scotland's flag, all of them are in there, and it makes that color. But when it's just England, it's just a red and white. And in Scotland, they just have the blue cross.
Right.
I never knew that. But anyway, so it's a competition between England and Scotland.
Okay.
And it was very entertaining. It marked possibly we may have seen the end. This might be the dawn of Andy Murray's brilliant career. He and his brother played doubles together. Mm-hmm. Maybe the last time we see them play tennis together at this level. But also this was it was a team competition, and you had Jamie Murray and Andy Murray for Scotland, and another young kid, Aidan McHugh. And I'm not really familiar with him, but young player. Of course, Great Britain, they had Paul Jubb, young player who I want to talk about real quick. And Dan Evans was also on that team, and Skupski, the double specialist.
Okay.
And England came out on top. They won, I think it was 8-4. They won the match. And Murray had a good game. He played he played probably one of the hottest players on the tour for England. That's young Jack Draper, who we've talked about.
Right.
Young kid, I think he's 19 or 20 years of age.
You're right.
Big game. And Murray, he showed the old Murray fighting spirit. I mean, he doesn't have, he's not that same Andy Murray he was 15 years ago, but that heart is still there, and he's a fighter. And he had a great match against Draper. He was down, and Murray just fought his way back, just like the old Andy Murray, and defeated probably one of the top young players coming up, which was good, because Draper's ranked in the top 50. I think he's 40-something. And that was a good win for him. And then another young player I want to highlight was Paul Jubb. Who's everybody. He's right now, Paul Jubb is probably, I think he's ranked 219 in the world right now. So he's in that, he's trying to break. But I really want people to talk about this young kid. He looked good. He played college tennis here in the United States for the University of South Carolina. And I think in 2018, maybe he won the NCAA championship. So he's the first Brit ever to do that. And makes me think of Cameron Norrie. Now, Cameron didn't win the championship, but Cameron Norrie also played tennis in the United States. And so he's been in the satellite circuit, fighting his way, trying to get his points and everything. Like I said, he's probably like around 219 or something like that in the world right now. However, young kid, he looked very good in this tournament. This was a good showcase for him. He played, he won his doubles. He played and won his doubles match, and then he played singles against the kid, Aiden McHugh, and just dominated. He looked good. I think what he needs to do is going to have to develop that consistent weapon. I think he played, he's nothing real. He needs to develop that consistent weapon and get some experience playing these big guys up there, and look forward to seeing how he develops as a player next year. So I'm thinking you're gonna hear a little bit about him next year. So it was interesting to watch him play. And so as you see the old guard, making their kind of last steps, you see the young guys coming up in here. And like I said, Jack Draper, he's the truth. I expect to see him break into the top 20 this year without a doubt, if not even higher. He's just got that game. And so it was interesting to see. And I just great competition to see amongst the teams, and also to see the unity between England and Scotland, because there's always that, between those two that Scots represent wanting their identity, and everything, and still being a part of the, UK. But anyway, it was good tennis, and so it was a good way to end the year.
Well, cool. Paul Jubb and Scott Draper, players that we need to look forward to
in the future. Yeah, like I said, Draper, we know Draper's already making those big steps. But I think Paul Jubb, 2023, he's going to make a mark somewhere. He's going to go. I think he's going to move up as long as his game, like I say, works on developing that weapon. And but he's athletic. He kind of reminds me of FAA a little bit as far as the body type, and everything is. Big serve, he tries to get that serve in. He needs to work on that, make sure that becomes a weapon for him, get him free points that allows him free up on the rest of his game. But young man that I'm interested in seeing. He came out in a blast when he won the NCAA a few years ago. But once again, you go back on that pro tour. It's
a different animal.
It's a different animal, boy, and you got to earn your stripes. And I think he's earning them now. He looked good.
That's good.
In a while. Mm-hmm.
So again, we'll look forward to see what he does in 2023.
Yeah. But that was interesting. So now they get a break, and everybody's going to get ready heading down under soon. So,
right. Yeah.
Good way to get some reps in, play some tournaments.
Yeah. It's always interesting to see what they do in transition from the quote unquote off season.
That's right.
To prepare for the next season, the next year. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about some of the things that we can do as normal tennis players. What do we do in the shortened tennis season that we have for this sport? Not a lot of people really focus on their off-season improvement. So I'd like to talk to you about what do you do during the off-season?
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to talk to you about off-season improvement and focus on a couple of things. You may have, or each individual player will have what you want to call things that they want to improve on But what are the main characteristics of improving between one season and the next season? So we kind of put together a couple of things and narrowed it down to 3 major things. So the first thing is conditioning. You always want to work on your conditioning so that you're able to withstand the rigors of the tennis season. Another thing that you always want to try to improve between one season and the next, if you had any glaring weaknesses or things that you want to improve on, is your stroke production. And one of the last things that we don't really focus on unless you have that kind of game or if you have full-time coaches is your strategy improvement. So those are some of the things that you can do in the off season. And since you have something new that we want to introduce to you and give you a shout out for yourself, that you're now going to be the new men's coach for Monacan High School here in Chesterfield, Virginia.
Yes.
Cool.
New coach. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it.
Okay, well, great. So what are you focusing on from an off-season improvement standpoint as the new head coach for Monacan's men's coach tennis team?
Yeah, when I first met the boys who claimed they want to play tennis, and I'd seen some of them because I watched the team last year play a little bit. But I told them, I said, you have to make a determination what type of year you want to have.
Right.
If you just want to come out there and play tennis, whether I win or lose, no big deal. I just want to play in tennis. Okay, that's fine. Then we can wait till season starts and you can go out there and just play tennis.
Right.
But if you want to be competitive, that's a different mindset.
Right.
So that means our tennis starts right now.
Sure.
We don't wait, months from it. We get started on it now. And it's great that you talked about conditioning because there's conditioning you do before season, and then there's conditioning you do during the season. And, so it continues, it goes on, but the conditioning you do it's essential part of tennis, your conditioning. And, while the average point in a tennis match can only last maybe 3 to 5 seconds, I mean, each point may only last 3 to 5 seconds. A match could last hours.
Right.
So your body has to be conditioned to be able to keep up and for you to still be competitive.
Right.
Be just as strong or, equally strong at the end of the match as you are at the beginning of the match. And that just comes from conditioning.
Yeah.
And so it's essential.
So what kind of things are you introducing as a new coach?
Well, one of the things we want to do is definitely want to improve the cardio.
Okay.
Your endurance during the matches. This allows you to spend more time playing and less time catching your breath in between points. And then also we have to understand that tennis definitely works your body groups. Your footwork is important. We work on footwork during off season and to help develop those things. You're going to want to work on things that's going to prevent injuries. You're strengthening your joints, your movements, rotations, your shoulders.
So core strength.
Arms, core strength, definitely core strength. Everything starts with the core, especially in tennis. If you notice, like on a professional level, you look at the six-pack of the average tennis player.
Oh, yeah.
They're cut.
Absolutely.
They don't have to be muscular up here, but here's got to be tight because for the movements and things you're doing tennis to get the maximum out of it for your stroke, your serve, everything it starts with the core. And so those are essential. Those are things we do before season, during season, and you keep doing them because to be competitive, you got to be able to hit the shots. To hit the shots, you have to have the body straight so that you can get the most out of that, that stroke.
Sure. Mm-hmm. You do anything with your arms or legs? Because that's also important to your conditioning as well.
We work with bands, we work with weights, but light weights. We're not trying to get bulky, but you want to be stronger. So we do bands, light work with the medicine ball.
Mm-hmm.
Also that helps with the core. You're doing exercises, planks are important. I think, doing those things, all kinds of things like that help strengthen your core, but also you're working on your shoulder group, and your knees, your waist, your back, and even down to your ankles, because, it's everything your body in tennis, your body uses all of those and relies on those to stay up, and you're going to have those up peaks and those low peaks. So you want to be conditioned so that you kind of are evenly balanced all through that, and and that you can perform at your best.
Right.
That's what all this is designed to do, is help you perform at your best when you need to.
Yeah.
And, the best players, the best players in the world, that's what makes them significant. They're able to endure and play long matches and keep their physical ability at a pretty stable level. There'll be peaks and valleys, of course, but it pretty much, they stays on that. They're not too high or low. They kind of stay even and they're always, once they're successful, because when they need to hit that last shot down the line, they can hit it, even though they've been playing for like 2 hours, they can still produce. Or hit that serve. You want to hit that serve on the tee, and you've been playing an hour and a half, 2 hours, you can still, get it down there. And conditioning makes that happen.
Yeah. And do you also introduce any flexibility, strengthening?
Sure.
Since you mentioned your ankles, your shoulders, one of the things that keeps players from getting injured is their flexibility. We look at a player like Novak Djokovic. He's known for being able to stretch. We call him Gumby.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But do you introduce that as well?
Definitely. You definitely want to stretch those joints. You want to be as flexible as you can.
Right.
The tightness that hurts you. So, and that's what gives Djokovic, and we're using him as an extreme because he is an extreme, but he is a phenomenal athlete, and he takes care of himself. But he stretches a lot.
Right.
And just for that reason. And he can allows him to contort his body to hit shots that most people can't hit. Right. But it's because he has that flexibility and he can kind of literally mold his body to get into a position to hit an effective ground stroke, even when he's out of position or off, It's amazing. And Nadal is the same way. Not as much as Djokovic, but he is also, has that ability.
Sure.
But Djokovic puts the time in.
Right.
Amazing.
He's always flexing.
Always
not flexing, but always stretching.
Always stretching, always doing that. And then also you talk about the cardio that we do. And tennis, you're sprinting, you know. But I will still incorporate, short sprints, but I'll also incorporate jogging. And I would say jogging, but no more than maybe 5 to 10K off season jogging for conditioning.
For that conditioning.
During the season, you're not going to do that much, but you do still want to continue to run. I think that's good and important. And you want to continue to get your endurance levels up, because that's what that does. That helps your endurance level. So that, and I think for me, running off season and running that I do now, I mean, it doesn't make me a better, but what it helps me, then as far as my tennis, it really doesn't help me that much, I don't think. But what it does is your endurance. Yeah. It's like you can play longer and you're not winded.
Right.
You can play longer matches. And then we do also, once we get on the court, we'll be doing more sprints and more running, that sort of thing.
So you once you get on the court, you'll introduce more what they call circuit training.
Yep. Oh, yeah. You do circuit training. You can do all kinds of things. Yeah. So it's like before the season off court, you're doing more to prepare yourself to be on the court.
Right.
And then you start mixing in stroke production with your conditioning, and then you start pulling one back and moving one forward. Sure. And once we get into the season where we're playing matches, then it's going to be on more stroke production match. And then you get into strategy down the road. Once you're playing your matches, or starting, then you start working on all those other things too.
Yeah.
So you do it in phases and work it in, and hope that the players respond.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, though. Everybody's different. Everybody responds differently. But you want to make sure that you're conditioning yourself and preparing yourself for the step ahead. Right. And then this condition prepares you for that next step ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I got you.
When the season rolls around, you're ready to roll. Because that first match should really, if you do it right, and if I've done my job right and we've conditioned you right, then that first match, you should be ready to roll.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed on that.
Thank you.
But with that same path, do you do, since we talked initially with your conditioning, core strength, what kind of things do you do to help your players with their core strength?
Well, that's what I was saying before. Like we do stuff with of course, planks are good.
Right.
Also, I like working with the medicine ball. Bands are good too. I like using bands to pull resistance. But nothing too strenuous. But like you said, you want to do things that's going to tighten that core up.
Right.
And those are good forward. And then think we're working with young people too. We're working with teenage boys, 14, 15, 16 years of age. So their bodies are still developing. So I'm not trying to do anything too, we're just trying to get them at their level, keeping in mind everybody's different and
Right.
different physicality. Everybody's unique, but, you work with that kid individually, and you focus on what is going to make that individual kid better in their individual way. It's not a cookie cutter thing that's going to work for everybody because everybody's different.
Now, that's interesting you say cookie cutter. So do you do anything specific for tennis? You do any exercises that are specific for tennis
Everything's
players?
for tennis to help you with your tennis.
But do you do anything that's specific for tennis,
Yeah, once you get on when your all your movements and everything you're doing, they're all tennis related. Everything that you do, your structure, it should be guided, something that moves you with a tennis goal in mind.
Right.
Something that you use those muscles, you use those groups and things that you're going to need on the tennis court. So it's all tennis related. It might be, you could use it for other things, but these are the things we categorize that will also be helpful in tennis.
Sure.
It could help you in another sport too, but we know it's specifically going to help you in tennis. And that's what we're looking to achieve.
Okay. So that's core strength. What about, do you focus on leg strength other than, like we said, wind sprints? And do you do any kind of exercises that help with leg strength?
Yeah, I think you want to do things that help you with your footwork. Also, you want to do things that's going to help you. Like for tennis players, notice their legs are probably the most dominant feature on their body.
Sure.
For a reason, because you're constantly running and the legs are going to get you there. Now, keep in mind, that's for people, because now somebody would call in and say, hey, Skinner, I've seen some wheelchair tennis.
Right.
And that's a different type of game. It's still tennis and it's very good tennis, but they've adapted the tennis game that they can play without using their legs, but they still, that movement, and we can talk about that in another segment, but but you still, for those who are playing on the legs, then legs is what's going to get you there.
Right.
And
so I was thinking more along the lines of specific exercises. Like for leg strength, I would do, if I were a coach, I would work on doing lunges, specific lunges, walking lunges, side lunges, squats, jump squats, stuff like
light
that.
Weights. You can do squats without weights, but also do with light weights too. Yes, and squats, jumps, frog jumps, and burpees. Also,
burpees.
Those things you hate them, but we do those things too.
Cool. Do you do anything for arm strength, specific arm strength exercises?
Yeah, like I said, we work with bands. We do light weights, curl. You do, the twist.
Well, reverse
curls, yeah.
And actual arm curls.
Arm curls, and nothing, like I said, nothing too heavy right now, but you just want to build. You want to get stronger. You want to build up, but we're not trying to bulk up or anything. But yeah, do curls and little hammer curls too to work inside.
Oh yeah,
that sort of thing. Mm-hmm.
What kind of stuff do you do for flexibility?
Well, outside of the stretching, that's basically it. You're gonna stretch the muscle groups, the important muscle groups.
Right.
That's what we would be focusing on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You ever think about doing wrist flexes or anterior calf stretches to help with that flexibility?
Here you want that forearm. Some people still use the old school muscle grip. They work to help with your grip because those are things it's important. People think, oh, you just hold a racket, but a lot of players can develop carpal tunnel from the repetitive action on it. Sometimes I develop pains right here from this weird pain that makes this almost debilitating. You can't hold a racket, you can't hit it, and it just comes from that repetitive action of doing that over and over again. So you want to do exercise and stuff that can alleviate that, doing the same thing that, over and over and over again. It takes its toll on you. So you want to do exercises that kind of alleviate that and the repetitive injuries that you can get from just doing the same thing, a million times.
Yeah.
And also too, you want to work on the speed. Is important. Short, like I said, short distances, but sprints. Though, the suicides. Always. perennial. You use them. Just various things, man. And then, like I said, you got to look at your players too.
Yeah.
What they're able to do. You're not going to be able to. You have to see where they're at, and I would think that would work best for each. And like I said, each person is an individual, and you kind of want to plan it for that type of person, what they're able to do and what they can't do. And that's where it really it's tough, because you want to make it for everybody to do the same thing, but everybody doing the same thing is not going to get you the same results for everybody.
No. But, since you mentioned suicides, which was always I used to hate them, but we did them, and the results paid off when we actually played matches because you were in condition. Yeah. Does everyone on your team have a jump rope? Because that's probably one of those universal things.
Well, if they don't, they will get one. Jump rope is excellent.
Yeah, that's one of those universal exercises that can help your conditioning and improvement, your speed, your agility, and your coordination, believe it or not.
Sure.
To help you with the sport. That's one of the things that I know of that we can do that we kind of overlook.
Yeah.
Or forget about. Now, maybe not overlook it, but we kind of forget about it.
If you watch every tennis player, remember they do that, you used to do that thing on a tennis channel, a bag check?
Yeah.
It's like 90% of them have a jump rope in their bag. They will pull that jump rope out, or they pull out some bands or something like that, but the jump rope. And some of the most incredible jump ropers I've ever seen with tennis players. You watch Djokovic handle a jump rope, man. It's amazing. They are just, essential.
Yeah, and them, and I got to throw his name out there, boxers also jump rope.
Footwork.
For not only for footwork, but for quickness. Mm-hmm. And we know that, the connection between boxing and tennis comes to one player, Andre Agassi. His father was a boxer, and it translated very well because,
the movements and everything. Yeah. So as a young player, Moshe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a former boxer. He's a good tennis player, not solid tennis player, but he was a boxer.
Right.
And he came in the sport late, but, those skills he had as a boxer really helped him on the tennis court.
Yeah, all from jumping rope.
Jumping rope and the movement and everything. And also, another soccer players.
Right.
I can always tell a soccer player, because they just naturally had good footwork. They can get to the ball, that movement. Yeah. It's, they're good. It's a good sport to have as a corresponding sport to tennis.
And that's also another good aspect of playing the sport of tennis, being able to cross train.
Yeah.
We never think about it, but Martina Navratilova loved the fact that she was active playing basketball, and she used her basketball skills to translate on the tennis court. Yeah. Sometimes that will definitely help. And like you said, soccer is one of those. I haven't met a soccer player that wasn't a difficult tennis player to play against, because they were used to moving all the time. Great footwork. In fact, if you go out on YouTube, you can see a recent YouTube video of Nadal playing his buddy Casper Ruud, and they're not playing tennis. They're practicing with a soccer ball.
Soccer ball, yeah.
They're doing headbutts and keeping a tennis ball hitting.
You should watch Nadal. He's practicing playing soccer with professional soccer players.
Right.
And holding his own. I think he's a big Real Madrid fan, so of course, but holding his own.
Yeah.
He's, and I think most of Federer's also a good soccer player, I think, and a few other, top pros are also equally good soccer players.
So again, that cross training from other sports, boxing with jumping rope,
basketball
can help you.
Volleyball. To some degree.
Yeah. All of that can, like I said, translates, and that's the kind of thing that you should be focusing on during the off season to help with conditioning and other aspects.
Right. It's important. I know we're looking at two different levels, and we're kind of mixing it together.
Right.
But the professional, that's your job. That's what you do for a living.
Right.
For us, it's still, this is what we do for our enjoyment, for fun. But we still want to be competitive. And so to be the best tennis player you can be, even if you're a 3-5 player or a 3-0 player, the best to be the best 3-0 player, you got to be the best 3-5. You got to put in the work off the court as well as on the court. I mean, you just have to. It helps. It really helps. You see players. I'll go out there and get a ball. Get a hopper balls to practice my serve. And that's all you want to do. Is you want to work on. You realize you something wrong and they go, why are you just hitting the serve? Because that's how you improve it. You work on it until you find that glitch, and you work on that glitch, or you get somebody like, I'll see you, I say, Ruff, man, look at my serve. What am I doing wrong here? And then you can analyze. That's how you get better. That's how you get better. And the conditioning is part of that. You can't just get up and play tennis.
No.
That's not it. And no matter how, if you give me two players, right, and one player is very talented, but he's lazy and he doesn't want to put in the work. And he got the stroke, but he just doesn't want to put in. Right. And then you give another player that's not as good as this player is. However, he puts in the time, and this player is going to win. Yeah. That player he makes up that difference because he's putting in the time off the court to make himself a better player when he's on the court, and that's essential.
Yeah, that's good.
As a competitive tennis player.
Right.
Once again, if you just want to go out and hit the ball, then that's fine. You don't need to practice. You can just hit the ball and have fun. And if that's how you enjoy the game, great. Yeah. We like people who love the game, but if you want to be competitive, and for you and I, that's where the fun is competing, then you want to give yourself an edge.
But it all comes from picking a topic and working on improvements. And it's interesting that you say, taking out a hopper and practicing on your serve. That's another aspect that you can do in the off season that a lot of players don't do it. They don't do it. Some of the things that you want to focus on if you have a stroke deficiency. What's a stroke deficiency? We're talking about something that's not quite as good as it could be. Let's say you have a flaw in, say, your forehand. Well, in the off season, that's when you want to take the time to actually fix those flaws. Some things that you can do, if you got a flawed forehand or backhand, work on things like your racket preparation. If you have a flawed stance or your angle of attack when you hit the ball, focus on that. If you have, if you want to, a lot of times people want more topspin in their game because a forehand or backhand is not quite getting the results that they want. Maybe it's too flat or goes out a lot when they're playing. Well, this is when you would make a grip change, stuff like that. That's when you can fix or attack those deficiencies. Right. You also, like you said, with a serve, how do you fix a serve? Well, you put in the time, like you mentioned, and you take a hopper and maybe you put some cones out, and you actually put those balls, you put those targets up, and you hit your serve. Maybe you can add something to your serve, like a kick serve or a slice serve. Yep. Or maybe if you want to work on power, you add just a little bit to your motion from your conditioning because you got stronger legs, and now you can actually hit a faster serve or a better second serve. A lot of things that we don't think about. When you're competing, you don't get a chance to really, really work on that, especially to see those results. But that's right. This is the time when you want to do that. Yeah. Now,
and understand too, we have technology and stuff that can help us. I think what's helped me a lot is the use of a cell phone. Right. And you put it on a camera. Yeah. And you watch yourself, and which is what I'm going to incorporate with the team. We're going to videotape and watch yourself. It's amazing because you can't see it, or you can't really think about how you're hitting it wrong when you're hitting it. But then when you look at yourself, you go, oh gosh, that's what I'm doing. Sure. Then you go back and it makes you puts that image in your head of what you need to do physically to make those corrections. Yeah. And that on every level, that's a valuable thing. Absolutely. So, that you could do as well.
When you get a chance to see yourself, you get that positive feedback of what your coach is telling you. You need to improve on. That's right. Again, when we're focusing on the off season. Sure. And before we get off on this episode, one of the last things that we can do from conditioning and stroke improvement that we really don't focus on as players of our level is the mental aspect, you know, the strategy.
Yep.
What kind of player am I? So how do I improve? Am I a serve and volleyer? Okay, so, what do I need to improve to continue my serve and volley? Maybe I need to figure out, do I serve and volley on first and second serves, or maybe do I only do it on first serves? Or maybe I strategically say, based on when in the point, because that's another part of your strategy, when do I actually do this serve and volley tactic? Or let's say I'm a baseliner. Okay, how do I construct points so that I can, from a baseline, take an advantage so I can hit my shots to end the points,
exactly.
Or at least give the way we really should be thinking is, you don't want to be the one that makes the unforced error,
right?
So how do I take that advantage and make it my strength? That's the stuff that we can kind of think about in the off season. And we don't really focus on that. We just, sometimes we don't take the off season, especially at players at our level. We just continue to play. We just go out there with no real plan behind it.
And
we just go out there.
That's the thing. And Ruff, the one thing you said that jumped out at me is that you take and analyze what type of player you are.
Right.
Okay. Some people are servers. They got a big serve. Okay, then you use that. Like you become a serving volley. Work on that volley too. Get into the net, put those points away. Some players are counterpunchers.
Yeah.
They can move, run. Those are those soccer players. They make great counter because they can move on the court and they can get to balls and get the ball back. And if that's the type of game, then what do you have to do to make you a better? Better counterpuncher.
Absolutely.
And some of the best players in the game are counterpunchers. They don't, they just stay in the run until they wait for their opportunity.
Right.
And they're patient. They can go all day. And you're hitting bombs and they just getting them back, waiting for that chance.
That one opportunity.
It's going to drop you. Yeah. And so, so what type of player, and once you come and analyze and you understand what type of player you are, then you know what you can do to make you a better player in that respect. You know, and I think that's important. When you said that, I was like, yeah, exactly. Analyze what type of player you are and make that, enhance your abilities,
to go out there and be competitive.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll introduce this to your tennis players, in the upcoming season, that you'll, whether they're seasoned players or, they're brand new, you can introduce these aspects so that they become better players, or at least get the best game out that they can possibly get for their abilities. So we're not expecting, you to, the next U.S. Open champion to come from Monaco, but, you can always hope. And they can say that, got their start with Mr. Skinner down at Monaco High School. But
that would be great.
That would be great.
That would be great. But I watch, there are a couple coaches out there that I understand. I see what they're doing, and I'm like, okay, they have it, they understand it, because you go out there and let me just move back. My own personal experience. Okay, I remember when I first played on a high school tennis team. And it's the Tale of Two Cities, Tale of Two coaches.
Right.
The first coach I had, he really didn't play tennis.
Sure. So he didn't really
know
how to coach you.
And he's a nice guy, but he was not a good coach. He didn't understand the game. He didn't understand the rudiments of the game. And so as a team, he didn't know how to do the lineups right. He didn't know how to, play us right. And so we were a disaster. I mean, we struggled to. And then later on, we got a coach who understood the game. He wasn't a great player, but he understood tennis.
Right.
He followed the game. He watched the game. He knew nuances. And so then he was able to, help us to develop as a team, but also he worked with each individual player.
Right.
Like he would come out and hit with you and spend a day, look at your game and say, I think you should do better doing such and such and such. And so, even in that form, it was amazing just doing that, how much that improved our team, because each individual player had it gave us a plan.
Yeah.
In our mind. We just weren't going out on the court and just hitting a tennis ball. We went out there with a game plan in mind. And that always stayed with me as okay, preparation means something.
Sure.
And it just stayed with you that if you're prepared when you go on that court, the results, much different if you're not.
Right. Yeah, I got you, but hopefully, you won't have that issue.
I'm gonna try to prepare them. Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna try to prepare them and try to look at each one for what type of player they are individually, and that's where we're gonna go from there. You know, and so yeah, but preparation, man, proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Yes.
There's another word there, but I'm gonna leave that off.
Yeah.
But yes, so you got to be prepared, and conditioning is part of that preparation. Yeah. And what you do before your season starts, helps during the season.
And it all starts with your off-season plan,
your
off-season improvement.
Yep. And I don't know about you, but they have a lot of videos on YouTube and on Instagram and all kinds of things that are useful. You need to look at them and see if they're answering the question that you have about your game, then look at that one and see what they're doing there. Some of them are, but a lot of them are good and decent, and they may help you. Yeah. Won't hurt, won't hurt. And that's, everybody can't afford to get lessons from a, private coach, or, they can be expensive. Yeah. And, but some people are willing to pay that. And if that's great, because they're great. That's the best. If you can get an individual coach to look at you and analyze your game and work with you, that's the best way to go if you can go. But it's costly. Yeah. But also for children, if you have your kid coming up and they don't want to be a player, then it would be helpful to get somebody to analyze the game and help them structure their game. But if you can't do that, then there's a lot of things you can do on your own also. And there, like I said, there are a lot of videos and things like that you can look at that can also help you with the conditioning. I would tell everybody in here, if you're not sure, go to YouTube and look up on the conditioning, pre-tennis, preseason conditioning, and see what they offer. The USTA has a great site on conditioning and that sort of thing.
That's a good point.
Look at, and it can help you.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. Well, again, maybe we should start adding, improvement to our future episodes in the podcast.
Without a doubt.
And if we don't have things to talk about, maybe we can just, add some pointers on what you can do for specific things to help your game going forward.
Can always do something.
Oh yeah.
Always.
I
tell people, man, I've been playing this game for many, many decades. Right. I still haven't solved the puzzle. I'm still searching to improve. Always improving the game. There's always something I can improve, and in the part that's, some people think that's a bad thing. No, it's not, because once you make an improvement, then that just inspires you even more. Like, oh my gosh, I could, and now I'm at that age now where, the body is doing some crazy things too now. And so you have to come up with different ways to be competitive. And so now I'm starting to learn more and more how to rely on my brain, understand tactics a little more. And that's a whole nother level. But for each player out there who's watching, you have to assess yourself and see where you're at with the game, but you can always improve. You can always get better. And like I tell everybody, tennis rewards your diligence. I mean, the more you play, the more you work on it, the better you're going to get. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. And hopefully we've given you some good ideas on what to do with your off-season improvement during this for the
something
between
to think
seasons.
So, something to think about. Yeah. And this is for everybody. I mean, if you just, starting out at 7, 8 years old, or if you're 70 years old and you want to pick up this game, which I met somebody at Rockwood who is like 68, 69, and they're playing tennis for the first time. And I'm like, awesome. That's awesome. Another convert, we'll take it. We'll bring you in. And then, of course, we know veterans out there in their 70s who can hold their own. Yeah. They can hold their own. They, you better tie your shoes on tight when you're playing them, because if you don't,
you're going to be out there with me.
Yes, I'm telling you. We'll talk about some of those players. That's the episode. We got some incredible tennis players we need to tell people about.
Stories about.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Inspire. They're inspirations. They're inspiration for everybody.
Well, cool. Well, all right. Well, that seems about enough for our off-season improvements segment.
I tell you.
So, again, what we want to say, as we always say, we thank you, our fans, for listening to our podcast.
Yes.
Hopefully you'll come back and we give you some encouraging things to talk about or even write about. Right. Again, don't forget to hit us up on our Instagram.
Yeah. And thank you for the likes. They're starting to come in now, and we appreciate that. And the comments, the few of them we get, we're going to start discussing some of those comments.
Yeah.
But please continue. We enjoy that. Good, bad, either way. We just want to have you communicate with us and let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
And I think Ruffin, you ask them also too if they have any ideas that they would like for us to discuss. Please submit those. Let us know.
Yeah, hit us up on our email address at which side do you want at gmail.com. I'm sorry, which side do you want tennis at gmail.com. Instagram, Twitter, and eventually we will get back on Facebook. So, my brother, I thank you for this episode.
Ruffin, always thank you.
Have a happy holidays.
Likewise,
and,
man.
Stay
be
safe out there.
You do the same. Be safe on the roads, man. Yep.
I appreciate it.
All the best to you, my friend.
All right.